Good evening, everybody. Want to welcome everybody to our town hall. Want to also remind folks we're going to be having many of these moving forward. They are currently on our district calendar, along with various other professional development opportunities for parents, including those from Dr. Wabel and Dr. Gilbert, also those from Ms. Bodner and Dr. Correa from Curriculum and Instruction, and also we have a couple from our business department in regards to Budget 101. You could visit those, as I noted, right on our website. We will be adding more town halls as we move through the year. Shia, I'm going to ask that we turn it over to you and let us know what questions you have.
Right. So thank you everyone for being here. We're joined today by Mr. Jason Bing, our superintendent, Dr. Kevin Gilbert, our assistant superintendent of schools, Dr. Carrie Wabel, our director of data research and evaluations, and myself, Ishai Draper, our communications director. From our submissions, the first question that we've had is what can families expect from next year's K through 5 busing plan, especially around avoiding very early pickups and making sure pre-K families aren't negatively impacted for transportation and communication?
Thank you, Ashaya. So let's give a little history on our transportation. Obviously, it was before, I believe, everybody's time on this call. I'm looking at Ashaya, Kerry, and Dr. Gilbert and myself. So as many of you know who've been in the district, I believe it's since 2022, the district has been privatized. They got rid of all their own buses and privatized all routing, drivers, and the actual buses themselves. Also, just some history since the pandemic, and I've spoken to many of you on this topic. Many of the bus companies have gone out of business and closed, and also many of the drivers have retired, making it very difficult for districts to acquire busing and also to acquire seasoned drivers. For us, it was particularly difficult because in our bids, we also put a GPS system as part of our bidding. In our area, only 2 bus companies currently do that GPS. So when we put out our busing bids, obviously we could only 2 companies could bid out of the 10 that were out there. That is one of the things we are revising moving forward. We can't limit ourselves in regards to choices of vendors and also in regards to cost. Obviously, when you're limited to 2 vendors, it's very easy for them to drive up the cost when they realize the district does not have a choice. Furthermore, and we just talked about this at our last board meeting, there is no more pandemic monies. For those of you who have been in the district for over 5 years and were with the district during the pandemic, as you know, the state gave every district pandemic monies, lots of pandemic monies. Those monies are no longer available. Those monies have dried up over about 2 years ago. So the busing that we were able to purchase and acquire as of 2.5 years ago, we can no longer do because we no longer have that pandemic funding. One of the questions as well was around pre-K busing. So we've been doing some research on our end, talking to other districts, talking to county superintendents as well. And what we have found after talking to every Union County school district and every Essex County school district, South Orange Maplewood School District is the only district to bus their pre-K general education students. So we are currently looking at that in regards to no longer busing our pre-K general education students and only busing our pre-K students with disabilities and also our socioeconomic students who are free and reduced lunch. That is something that is currently on the table as we go down, as we are working on the 26-27 budget. We will keep everybody informed around that as we move forward. We are still researching the topic, but as noted, we just completed part of that research, which was collecting data from every Union County and every Essex County school district. That is one of the possibilities. Right now, our pre-K busing is costing us around between 1.3 and 1.5 million dollars. So that is an area we can be a lot more efficient moving forward. So that has been part of our discussions around development of the 26-27 budget. Some of the things we are looking at as well, we agree in regards to the early pickups. We are working on that. Obviously, as you all know, we have a tiering system here in South Orange Maplewood School District where buses are paired with another bus. Therefore, when an early bus is a bit late, it impacts that secondary bus. So some adjustments had to be made in regards to times because we no longer have the option, as I noted, with the pandemic monies, to keep adding buses as the district has in the past. Currently, we just finished adding our last bus because we were having some issues with routing. But we no longer have that pandemic money. And that, for those of you who don't know, those pandemic monies were utilized to keep around 9 emergency buses on the side, just in case of emergency. So we had around 9 buses sitting with a driver and an aide that the district utilized for emergencies or for routes that need to be changed, that needed to be revised. They could pull from one of those buses. We no longer have those buses. So when we have to go out and create a new route, we have to go out for a quote. Those quotes are only for a specific amount of time by regulation and statute, and therefore we have to go out and re-quote again. So that is the current status of our busing. For next year, we are looking at some major changes. We were able to hire our own in-house router, so we will no longer be using a third party to do our routing for buses. We will be looking at our tiering system. As noted, currently we do a double-tiered system. We're going to be looking at that. We will be looking at our school start and stop times. We're going to also open up our bidding. So we're going to be looking at different GPS options. So currently the GPS option we are using requires the bus company to put equipment into their bus. We've been doing some research on our end and have found that the district can purchase other options that just plug right into the bus, and the driver can easily plug that in and utilize it. And the third party bus vendor does not have to make any major purchases on their own. So we are investigating other options for GPS. We're going to utilize a different bidding company. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with busing, we have to bid all our routes. We have to go through a third party to do that. We are moving to our local third-party vendor to do that bidding for the new year. We are also reopening our research and exploration into our hub system that we discussed last year as well. Go ahead, Ashaya. Thank you.
Very welcome. The next question, still for transportation. Could the district share more about the transition from first student to Eden, why families heard from the vendor first, and how we're making it run smoother next year? I'm not sure if you already have covered that.
So this was news to us today. Our transportation department just notified us of this today because they were under the impression that this was just normal for the South Orange Maplewood School District. She made that assumption because it's normal for most districts in the state. But as I reminded her, we are unique, and we no longer have buses on reserve. So when we change out the routes, we have to go and bid and quote those routes. Those quotes can only last for a certain amount of time by state mandate and regulation. Therefore, you are seeing a change right now in some of the newer routes that were bidded because it is a regulated mandate that they must be rebidded again. Um, we were just made aware of this tonight, so I'll be sending out a letter with more detail um, in the morning. My understanding is that transportation has been sending out messaging. However, I think they were under the impression, obviously being new to the district as well, that this was normal fare for the South Orange Maplewood School District. After my discussion with them this evening, we'll be detailing what is happening in a memo tomorrow morning to everybody to make sure everybody understands why we had to switch some of our buses.
Thank you. The next three questions that we have are surrounding Triple I and input from families. The first question, can the district walk us through why Triple I updates were shared when they were, and when we'll see the full data behind the recommendations, including modeling and transportation impacts?
Sure, we're trying to be as transparent as possible moving forward. Right now, we're still working on Triple I. One of the things we are interested in, and we're collecting this data as we speak. It's a project we've been working on for the last month. As many of you know, data storage and data platforms are not a strength of this district in the past. So while we were doing this research, we were really going to many different um, locations for data, some being paper-based, some being electronic. We think we've landed in a good place where we've supplied that data to ALVS, our consultant, to take a look at what a revision of Triple I may look like, which would include a two-zone model. I'll let Dr. Gilbert just speak briefly on that. This is one of the models that was explored when Triple I was adopted. Again, on our end, we're looking at a couple factors. What I have been hearing, reading online, and also speaking with many of you, that it is strictly a fiscal issue. Fiscal and finances are a part of it. Obviously, we want to reduce our transportation costs because that's a large part of our budget, but there's also an operational part of that as well. We have been having difficulties with length of trips. We have been having difficulties with proper and appropriate pickup for the last 4 to 5 years. We've been having issues with an increase in busing every year due to an increase in the amount of students being bused. So those are some of the operational issues we're dealing with that are in addition to the fiscal. Sorry about that, Dr. Gilbert.
Oh no, you're fine. And what I'll just simply say to add to that is we are exploring with some preliminary data what a two-zone proximity model would look like. And once Al's finished kind of crunching the numbers, we're going to incorporate our transportation offers to kind of see what the mileage for those initial placements would have looked like. They're going to use the data that we collected from 25, 26, this year's data, to put that analysis together to kind of see if we can get some type of estimate on what this two-zone model will cost us as a district as we move into the budgeting cycle, and to make some decisions around whether or not this is in fact the model that we want to use to. So typically when it comes to updates around Triple I, the ALS group provides a yearly update. We typically get that around December, January-ish, and do a presentation following that. This year we're looking at possibly March to do the Triple I update, where we can have all the beta testing done around this proposed two-zone model, so we can be able to address and answer any questions that we know people may have. And so we kind of we kind of tailor our updates based on when we get all the information we need from ALS. This year, we normally do that around February, but I mean January, February. But this year we're going to push it to March to give us enough time to collect all the data, so that when we come before you, we could have some real numbers to look at and talk through that particular piece.
We often talk about best practices that we're trying to bring back to the district. One of those best practices is a yearly review of every program, every large program and an initiative that has a large investment. So that does include our III. Add into that a highly tumultuous budget season that we are anticipating for 26-27. Currently, we have a fiscal gap. We just met with our Community Action Committee last night. We had a very productive meeting in regards to possible cost savings. You all have seen the headlines, so I do not need to remind you of what's been happening in Montclair School District or West Orange School District or the Orange School District. We are doing our best to avoid such scenarios and working diligently around bringing in all stakeholders to see what savings and efficiencies are currently in our budget. We made some very strong strategic moves last year with the district's first personnel audit and also transferring around 40 to 50 staff members to fill vacancies that normally would have been filled from the outside and cost the district close to $6 to $7 million. We saved some efficiencies last year by reevaluating contracts. As many of you know, we are privatized for the majority of our services, whether that's custodial, maintenance, security, transportation, paraprofessional. We are privatized. So we started taking a good look at those contracts. We are continuing that work this year as we develop the 26-27 budget. I see Dr. Wabel. Dr. Wabel, did you want to add in anything around III?
I think the most important part about III is that we're basing a lot of decisions moving forward based on data, and I think that that's key. You know, you talked about being void of data and how we're really putting a lot of time and effort into that, and I think all of these decisions need to be made based on all of the information that we're gathering, which takes some time. And I think integration takes time, and it's really important to have a lot of stakeholders and voices in the conversation, which is, you know, what we always try and do. And I think that that's, you know, an important piece is to, you know, involve everyone and bring all that data together and then say what's best for our community.
So for many of you, that means when we're talking about transportation, we're also, we've initiated another hazardous routes study. The one we currently had was going on 3 years old. It is best practice to renew those every 3 years. So that is currently underway. So as Dr. Wabel noted, we are waiting on that data. We are also waiting on data from the ALVS consultants. We have given them some of our student information to look at. So now we are waiting for some data from them. We are also doing some research around subscription busing as well, talking to districts such as Milburn, West Orange, Montclair, and other districts around the area, and doing some cost per pupil busing numbers on our end as well. Again, we are working to develop a solid database, as Dr. Wabel noted, so we don't have to keep reinventing the wheel every year and trying to find this data. So we are trying to exploit every platform that we currently have that has not been used to its capacity. For example, our financial platform of Systems 3000 was only used at about a 60% capacity. We have been expanding that capacity usage over the last year and a half, and we'll continue to do that until we have solid databases, not only for our financial side of the house, but for transportation, for special services, for our curriculum instruction department, so we can make those effective decisions moving forward.
Thank you. The next question: how might the district boosts III survey participation so we have a clearer picture of family experiences and needs?
So part of our work is having these town halls. Part of our work over the last year or so has also been surveying our parents. We've been receiving a lot of data around, obviously, our budget via surveys, also culture and climate in our buildings. So we'll also be working on the III experience. But what we have found most productive are these town halls, whether they're community conversations that have been in person or these WebEx town halls. We've been getting a lot of information from folks, and it's been very beneficial for us. We've also been really working hard to drive folks to our website. As many of you know, when we came in, our website was a bit of a mess. I want to thank Ashaya for turning that around, and we're still working on it for it to be a one-stop shop, because we heard that from our surveys from our community members that the SOSD website should be a one-stop shop. We're continuing to work on that and hopefully driving folks to that where their questions can be answered. I'll let Dr. Wabel and Dr. Gilbert talk about the III experience up to this date, 4 years into it, give you a little background on that.
So we are in the process of updating the survey, and we're going to make it a lot shorter. To Mr. Bing's point, we're going to figure out other ways to reach more participants, like set up places out near where people are, whether we go to schools or libraries and have computers set up. One year we set up computers at central office for the night of board meetings, and so we're going to try to do everything we can to raise the level of participation. We're right now we're moving away from doing a survey twice but once, so that also should help us generate more support. And so we think the shorter survey, more questions designed centered around III as opposed to the culture and climate questions that we were asking in the past, will hopefully drive people to want to participate, to get their voices in. Dr. Wabel?
I was going to add that I think what helps us understand the survey data also are just the conversations that we're having with families on a regular basis. I know myself, Dr. Gilbert, Mr. Bing, we are all having conversations with families regularly. And that really adds to the complex understanding of how our parents are feeling, right? Many feeling very thankful for integration. Some have, various concerns, and we really want to put all that together to really understand and address any needs, whether it be in the classroom or with transportation. And so, those conversations are really helpful. And as we look at our survey data, when we're developing these questions, we do leave blank spaces so that people can really share some additional information, right? For us, it's not enough to just say disagree or agree, but really explaining kind of the perspective that you're coming from is really helpful for us to fully understand, the wonderful things that you're experiencing, and also any concerns that you might have, so that we can address them.
So, and we've been stating this at our board meetings, but we do want to make clear, the South Orange Maplewood School District has to have an integration plan. There is no choice. We are on a short list for the state of districts that have to have a transportation plan. I have to have an integration plan. I speak with our county superintendent on a regular basis in regards to our plan. Currently, we have III, as noted. We are taking a close look at that, looking at revision options moving forward, and we'll keep everybody in the loop in regards to the work we're doing over the next month or so.
Thank you. And correct me if we've already discussed this one, but the last question for this category, will there be a way for families to share start time preferences? And could we clarify how the one-to-one transfer policy works for those who have already enrolled.
So I'll do the start and stop times. We're going to be sending out a survey around that in the very near future to gather some input. Just keep in mind that it's also a contractual issue. So our start and stop times need to align with our contracts. So that's work, our association contract. So that's work we have to do on our end. I'll pass that second part of the question over to Dr. Wabel and Dr. Gilbert.
So I'll start, and then Dr. Wavell can add any additional information. And so I'm assuming the one-to-one policy refers to the updated transfer policy that calls for a tier-to-tier match when it comes to our III. And so the way that works is families, he said, for those who've already enrolled, if there is a desire to transfer from your current school that you replaced through III to another school, you would fill that transfer out and you would send that through the parent portal. We have a hardship rubric that a team internally looks at the hardship. If it does not fit our first category of hardships, we have added what we call a priority 2 hardship, which leads to that tier-to-tier match, which means that if you qualify for priority 2 hardship, we put you on a list, and if there is another person who qualifies for that for a priority 2 in the school that you would like to go to, so the receiving school of you may have someone who wants to go to the school that you're currently in and your SES tiers match, we make the swap. You remain on that list throughout the school year. This process is fluid. We continue to look at our numbers on a monthly basis to kind of see what is there and what is open, and we make the move. And so those people who would desire to transfer, you can always put in that transfer request through our parent portal. Also, if you go to the Office of the Assistant Superintendent tab on our website and go to I think III, there is a link to the hardship rubric that we use, so you can see the things that qualify for what qualifies as hardships in order to meet the criteria for our priority 1 or priority 2. Our priority 1 hardships are most severe, and those students get placed immediately, and our priority 2 are those students who we use our one-to-one tier-to-tier match. Dr. Wavell, did I miss anything?
Nope, you are good.
Thank you. Our next category with a couple questions in it is student experience and technology in the classrooms. First question, what steps are being taken to make discipline at the middle and high schools feel more supportive and respectful, especially for freshmen and the freshman academy?
So Dr. Wabel and that freshman academy, and I just want to shout out Dr. Wabel for all the work she's been doing around that academy. And I know we've got some pretty positive data to share so far, a quarter 1 into it, but hopefully it will sustain. But I'll turn that over to you.
Sure. So thank you for the question. One of the things we are starting to do in the high school is we've included some supportive counseling for our weekend or Saturday detention. So that's first and foremost. We're really trying to, instead of being punitive, really take a skills look at what kids need and support them in that way. We're also recognizing that although the first few weeks of Yonder, there was a lot of students that were struggling. Now we are noticing that only 2 or 3 students a day are having a phone issue, and that generally they go right to Miss Banner and let her know that they're having a phone issue, and it's taken care of without any discipline, which is wonderful. So that's going really well. The other thing we're doing is I've begun to go around to classrooms and take part in some focus groups so that we can really understand how the students are feeling, what they're struggling with, what they love, And so I spent time so far in 4 classrooms. And next week, when we get back from Thanksgiving break, my goal is to go into more classrooms just to understand how our freshmen are feeling. Generally, they were feeling a little bit, some of them loved no phones, but not all of them did. A lot of them, that was a concern. But generally, there was a really positive atmosphere around how they were feeling about going into the freshman academy, which is great. And I think that we're already seeing some really positive data around student success. So that's really been wonderful, and we're so thankful. The only other thing I would add is that instead of providing discipline, what we're trying to do is really have our team leaders work with the students individually and connect with them. So if a few team members at our team meetings are saying, you know what, this student is really struggling with this behavior, that student will meet with the team leader and make a plan to, what are the skills the student needs to change their behavior? What are something that we might need to help the student with so that they can adjust their behavior or do something differently? And that's really been helpful because it removes the punitive and really works with student on self-advocacy and plan making. So,
And part of our work around Columbia High School, the Freshman Academy was our first launch of an academy. We plan on expanding that work over the next 3 to 4 years, looking at it, adding an arts academy, STEM academy, business academy. We'll be presenting a detailed plan to the board within the next month or so. One of our reasons behind that is really one, reducing the footprint of Columbia High School. For those of you who are graduates or have been in Columbia High School, to say it is expansive would be an understatement. I used to, as a child, play sports at Columbia High School. I've been in the district for a little more than a year, and I still get lost at Columbia High School. So it is quite overwhelming. So for us, when we're speaking to our students, whether that's student council or whether that's through our surveys, they want an increased sense of belonging. We're hearing that quite often, an increased sense of community. And one of their issues is the large footprint the building has. So we do believe the smaller academies will really make our cohorts of students a lot tighter, really help their mental health, also help their academics as well.
Thank you. That satisfied one of the next questions that we had in this category. In case we have further people from the community, I like to make sure we're transparent about how many participants that we currently have on. So just for the record, we currently have 59 individuals in our virtual town hall today.
Shai, I
The
do
rest
want
of
to add, I forgot to mention, because we've been talking about how large Columbia High School is. You do not only need to take our word for it. We hosted around 35 Chinese delegates today, and when they walked into that building, the look on their faces, was a look of shock with the size of the building. We're doing a partnership with a Chinese school district, and we hosted them today. Teachers, principals, we had a nice exchange of culture and ideas. But one of the first things that they did say was how large Columbia High School was.
Yeah, that's going to be really great for the future, making those academies digestible for the student experience as they're going through Columbia High School. returning to the questions, we have 60 participants that are on now, and we have 3 more questions in our student experience in technology, and then we move on to facilities and long-term planning, and then a category for budget, for those who are wondering. The next question is, how is CHS working to fix attendance errors so students aren't unfairly affected?
Dr. Wabel?
Sure. So first, I would hate to miss an opportunity to say thank you to any of our families out there. We were able to lower our chronic absenteeism rate across the district last year, specifically at the high school by about 6 points, which is really, truly amazing. And I want to just commend all of our families for putting in the time and commitment to really getting everyone to school every day and on time. So that's really amazing. At the high school, we are still above what the state would like us to be at, which is 10%. And so we are working really hard to engage students and make sure everyone's coming to school. One of the changes we made this year is that attendance is taken by swiping in. As many of you know, when you start something new, there's always areas to grow. So one of the things we do is at the end of the day, or at about 11:50, we send an email out to all the students. Anyone that's missed swiping in, maybe they forgot or whatever. And then they have until about 3:30 to come to one of the swipe places. There's about 6 in the school, and they can swipe, which will fix that part of their attendance. As long as they've been in school all day, that's not a problem. The other support that we can do is there is a person who works in the attendance office, and parents and students can email CHS attendance at somsd.k12.nj.us. And so any family that has a question or concern can email that, and then we can work on fixing anything. I know several families have emailed me. I normally forward them right over, and they're taken care of within a few days. But really, truly, just thank you for just that continued effort. I will tell you, our big group this year, if anyone out there is listening, seniors, that is the group we're really trying to get into school every day. They have a little bit of a higher, as you can imagine, attendance struggle. So my senior parents, help us help them.
We also do want to shout out everybody on this call in our communities. As you know, we held the district's first re-registration last year, first one in a long time. We did it for incoming 9th graders. We appreciate everybody's participation in that. We also got some great feedback in regards to how to improve the process. We also were able to get some decent savings in regards to students that were not part of the South Orange Maplewood School District. So for the upcoming year, our plan is to do re-registration for outgoing 5th graders, meaning those 5th graders going into middle school, and again, those outgoing 8th graders going into high school. So again, thank you for all the cooperation. It really did help our registration department tremendously, and really help with our numbers as well moving forward. So thanks so much.
Thank you. Our next question that we have is, can the district explain the balance between digital and paper homework and how concerns about Chromebook distractions and parental controls can be addressed?
We are working through that as well. We are in the midst of developing policy at the board level around these items, and around such topics as AI, as well as screen time. As many of you know, we put in a K-9 smartphone ban this year. We also, from the K-8 level, put in a ban of using Chromebooks during lunch and recess time. We wanted kids to have more face-to-face interaction than instead of their faces buried in a Chromebook. We will continue that work into next year as well as we adopt and expand the policy to grades 10 and 11. Many of you know we have partnered with University of North Carolina and Rutgers to do a study on our cell phone, smartphone ban. We're going to be focusing that study on our 8th graders and doing a 5-year study to see how a cell phone ban impacts attendance, impacts discipline, and also impacts academic achievement. So we're excited to work with those two universities, and also a big shout out to our Rutgers partner, who just happens to be one of our community members, and one of our parents. So thank you very much around that. Yeah, we're working on that with our teachers. So one of our big moves over the summer and at the end of last year was bringing our pre-K teachers and K teachers together. What we have noticed are that the district is struggling with transitions. So that whether that's a transition from pre-K to K, whether that's a transition from 5th to middle or middle to high, we need to do a better job in regards to transitioning our students to upper grade level. So our first shot of it was with pre-K and K. What we did notice, and again, going back to the data that Dr. Wabel noted, was that we had very high discipline rates in grades K1 and also grade 9. Often when I meet our students, and especially working closely with our student councils, one of the first questions I ask them is, could you take a guess at what grade levels have the highest discipline rates? Many are shocked when they hear K and 1, not too shocked when they hear grade 9. But those are the 3 grades that really have much of our discipline issues and also require a lot of our social work and counselor work. The K and 1, we can probably project that has a lot to do with the pandemic and what happened during the pandemic. Grade 9, that is an ageless question. When students get into high school, grade 9 tends to be a lot of discipline. That is one of the reasons, and for developing a true freshman academy was to lower those discipline rates, which so far so good. We've done a nice job around that, and we're hoping that data will sustain over the remainder of the year. And then for our pre-K and K, what we did notice that we use a Montessori-based system at our pre-K level called Tools of the Mind. It is an experiential system, a lot of hands-on, a lot of structured play. What we were noticing is that when kids transition into kindergarten and 1, the playtime or structured playtime decreased dramatically, and seat time increased dramatically, causing obviously higher discipline rates. So we did a lot of work. Our curriculum and instruction departments, Dr. Correa, Mrs. Bodner, did a lot of work with those 2 grade levels around transitioning and around instituting more structured play at our K levels. So when our pre-K students went into kindergarten, it wasn't as much of a shock to the system. In regards to also our technology, that, as I noted, we are currently working on that. We've been working on a district-wide policy for AI now going on about 2 months. We should have a product probably in the new year. We've been trying to bring in as many stakeholders as possible. We've also been working on what is a good balance between Chromebook screen time and group work, project-based learning, and that's professional development that we've been doing with teachers. That's also surveying our wonderful educators around what they're seeing. It's also listening to our parents and community members. For us, it's finding that balance. Obviously, our technology has helped us tremendously in regards to things like data collection, assessment, data collection that used to take 5 days per child, we can now collect within 2 hours. And the data is actually more reliable, which really helps us making those instructional decisions that need to be made throughout the year, and really helps us to be a lot more dynamic. One of the things we will be working on with our teachers, with our principals. As many of you know, we just did a book study on anxious generation last year, which was all about overusage of technology. So we are working with our folks to really find that balance of what cooperative learning looks like, what face-to-face dialogue looks like. We have instituted across the district something called CER, claims, evidence, and reasoning, which we hope will help boost our debate in classrooms and more of conversations and dialogue. We're hoping to increase that. But we are working on finding that balance between technology and face-to-face time, and we'll continue to do that work. I don't think any district has really landed on anything quite yet because it's all so new. But we're also lucky to have some district partners to work around that as well. Dr. Gilbert, Dr. Wabel, please feel free to add around that.
I was just going to add that over the next few months, we'll be having some parent lunch and learns around technology usage and supporting their students, because our kids all have supercomputers, mine included, in their pockets. And so how do we support that? So we're going to have some lunch and learns on that for you also.
Thank you. And lastly, in student experience in technology, what should families expect regarding how middle school placements will be determined moving forward?
So as we noted, we're looking at our current III system and looking at possible revisions to that. Possible revisions to that would be a two-zone system, as Dr. Gilbert and Dr. Wabel noted. Therefore, we would have natural feeders into our middle schools. One zone would feed into one of our middle schools and the other zone would feed into the other. We also did announce that I made the recommendation to pull our middle schools out of the algorithm, our current III algorithm for next year. We are at about correct me if I'm wrong with this data, around 90% of our students are at their closest school naturally. So we are looking to pull those South Orange Middle School and Maplewood Middle School out of the algorithm for 26-27.
Thank you. And then the next two sections we're going to be moving into is facilities and budget. And these should hopefully be briefer questions. How is the district staying ahead of maintenance issues so small problems don't turn into bigger ones?
So part of our development of the 25-26 budget was around making short-term investments to invest in long-term recoupment. So meaning we spend a lot of money on privatized services when our facilities break down, whether that's plumbing, whether that's electric. We spend millions on bringing third-party vendors in to fix things. So one of the decisions we made in our last budget cycle was to budget for our own in-district plumber and electrician to handle much of the work that otherwise we have been paying third-party vendors for. We also did just submit and get approved our 5-year long-range facility plan as well, that hopefully will help us focus in on what projects we should be doing over the next couple of years. We also will be having some deep discussions around facilities during our strategic planning sessions that are starting in January. You will get more information around that moving forward. We are doing one of the district's first strategic plan in over 10 years. So we'll be working with the New Jersey School Boards Association to facilitate 3 meetings with our community members around the development of a strategic plan. so we can have a good 5-year picture of where we're going.
Thank you. The next question is, what's the latest on making Columbia High School more accessible for all students and visitors?
So as many of you know, Columbia High School is the oldest high school in New Jersey. Well, the original part of it. It's had some additions, some facelifts over the years. So we've been doing walkthroughs with our new director of facilities over the last month to take a good look at CHS and what our needs are. Part of that work is around making the building a lot more accessible for our students. And another focus for us is also making the building a lot more secure and safe as we move forward, whether that's adding additional alarms on our doors, putting in a visitor identification system, training our security guards, and also allowing our local police departments during weekends, non-student time, to go through our buildings and to do check-ins and check-ups and inform us of what safety issues there are and what we need to do moving forward.
Thank you. And our last one, under facilities and long-term planning, what are the planned next steps for improving Ritzer Field, and when will the community hear about broader long-range facilities plans priorities?
So thank you for that softball, Ashaya. Please go to our website. I love directing people to the website. You'll see a lot of information about the Ritzer plan. Our next immediate step is the Board of School Estimates. They will need to vote to approve the Ritzer redevelopment. Once that is complete, we are looking at that sometime in January or February. Once that is complete, if it is approved, then we move forward with the actual project. We're looking at a project time of around 8 months. If the redevelopment is approved at the January or February Board of School Estimates meeting, then we're probably looking at breaking ground sometime in June or July.
Wonderful. Thank you. That wraps facilities and LRFP, and then our last three are for budget. What does the district anticipate for next year's budget, and which priorities are being protected given federal and state funding shifts?
So those federal and state funding shifts that were noted are still shifting. As many of you know and have read the latest headline that the U.S. Department of Education is being taken apart piece by piece. We are being told that those grants will be assigned to different federal departments across the government. We do not know what those departments are currently. So everything that you're reading in the headlines is also where we're getting our information. So that is still up in the air. For us, obviously, and we've said this publicly at board meetings, we are trying to protect student-facing budget lines. That was our goal last year. That will continue to be our goal. And as many of you have noted, because you've called or sent emails to us around what is happening in West Orange and also Montclair currently, that is something we are working very diligently to try to avoid. I can say that it is going to be extremely tight this year, and we are going to have to make some difficult decisions and have some difficult conversations. Moving forward, we will be as transparent as humanly possible. We will continue these community conversations in town halls. We will continue to put correspondence out there. We'll continue to be transparent at our board meetings to make sure everybody's in the loop. We will continue to work with our Community Action Committee that has been a wonderful help for us since last year. And that consists of about 30 of our community members in different sectors that have been helping us really look at various cost savings and messaging around our budget. But yes, it is going to be a difficult year, the development of the 26-27 budget.
That's a great question, Ashaya, but you're muted.
Thank you for that. The next question under budget is on stop loss coverage. When does the stop loss coverage take effect, and what is the district's maximum potential financial exposure, if you happen to know, Mr. Bing?
Yeah, so the numbers off the top of my head, I do not know, but for just to give a little context around that question, as many of you know, and you've read as well, the district has been in the state health plan for many years. Many districts are, as you may have read, that plan is increasing significantly its rates, around 30 to 35% for the upcoming year and the following year. So there are many districts now with a good solid history that are getting out of the state plan and have been investigating other options that are just as good as the state health plan, but may also not have as large of an increase. As of two board meetings ago, the district did transition to a new health plan for everyone in the district, which is Aetna, thus reducing our exposure to that 33% increase in the state plan for the upcoming year and the 31% increase for the following year. We've done a lot of work in regards to transitioning our folks. Part of that work is around stop loss coverage. We'll actually be sharing more of that data at our next board meeting in December. So I ask you to please tune in there. We also just activated, big thanks to our Director of Human Resources and also our Director of Communications, a new webpage on our site around the transition to our new health plan.
Primarily, how is the district interpreting differences in NJSLA scores across elementary schools?
So, I wish I could say atypical of the state of New Jersey, but I'm going to say typical of the state of New Jersey. They are changing the state assessment format. This year, as of the last month, we were running tests for the new assessment. It will be an adaptive assessment the state is adopting for the spring. We administered many of the pre-tests, as they like to call them, over the last month. Some testing questions as well as trying to figure out the new adaption system. So we have to first see what that system looks like and what the data from that system looks like before we can make any comparisons to what the students have been taking over the last 5 years. We are still waiting on guidance from the Department of Education. We were literally given, I believe, Carrie, correct me, a month notice in regards to the state switching over to an adaptive style of assessment in the spring. And I will compare that to many states like Massachusetts, Connecticut, other states that have made this switch already that took a year to do that switch. So we were a little caught off guard, but as school districts, we are kind of used to some of these quick right or left turns by the Department of Education. So right now we are waiting for more guidance from the Department of Ed in regards to what that new assessment is going to look like and what that data is going to be, so we can make better comparisons between the old and the new data. So that is still up in the air, and we will keep folks informed about that moving forward. You want to go to the questions in the chat now?
Absolutely. So we have three questions that are currently in the chat. The first may be pertinent to Dr. Wable. Freshmen were given Saturday detention for a first yonder per pouch infraction. Doesn't that seem a bit extreme? There's concern that students perceive Saturday detention to be therapeutic nor supportive. It doesn't show much care for students with family, athletic, or work-related conflicts.
Yeah, what I can say is one of the things I've been doing with that we've been doing with the high school is just really reviewing that code of conduct. So I would say that our first infraction is normally not a Saturday detention. Jessica, you are welcome to email me, and I can look further into that.
Yeah, I'm hearing that as well at the lower level too, Carrie, that I don't believe any students are being given the second tier of discipline for first offenses. However, I don't think our schools are communicating to our parents that there was a first offense. So we have to do a little better job on that on our end, and that's something we're going to work on.
And I'll say one of the things we did this year was we added a layer in our code of conduct to be more supportive and start from a strengths-based support measure, and really talk about what a teacher can do, what conversations a teacher should have, you know, and that kind of thing. So I'll work with the high school and review that. And but please feel free to send me an email so I can look further into it specifically for that case. But yeah, that's not a immediate. That's not a first infraction generally.
Thank you. And then just a follow-up for that is parents received an email to inform us of Saturday detention. We'll just make sure that we are reaffirming what our communication practices are on the district side. The next questions that we have in this in-session chat is regarding the two-zone model and busing for families again. With the new two-zone model, how will busing work for students who were already assigned to schools under the previous Phase 3 placement?
I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Gilbert and Dr. Wable. I do want to note that we've just started this process with our consultant and our new transportation folks. So the data is quite fresh, and some of the answers we may not have right now, we're hoping to have those answers within the month's time. We're dedicating a lot of our time to this so we can get some better answers for everybody, so everybody can be notified if there are revisions made to the current system. We want to make sure all our families are aware of that as soon as possible. Sorry about that, Dr. Gilbert.
Oh, you're fine. And I'll just add to that what we want people to understand is that we are creating a new model on top of an old model. And so one of the things we do have to look at once we get our preliminary data and make decisions on is what we will do, what we're calling interzone travel. And so to that particular question, we don't have an answer for you just yet because we have to see what the data is going to look like and what the impact. Right now, the preliminary data is just assuming that we're just going to do the new model with new enrolled students and then see what that impact is versus if we will have to do things around sibling priority, or to your question, what does that mean about students who were placed with the old model in terms of transportation versus being closer to a school that is in one of the zones in the new models. That's just a question that we cannot answer till we get the data, but that is under consideration on what to do with that.
Thank you.
I do also want to address the question around subscription busing. We are also looking at that as well. One of the things we have been saying is that everything is on the table. We are looking at everything, every line item in our budget, every practice that we currently do. So yes, we have been exploring subscription busing. I know many of our peers utilize it. Milburn, Livingston, West Orange, Montclair, many of our fellow districts utilize subscription busing. So yes, we will be sharing information about that in the near future.
Thank you. The next question was still on busing. In regards to busing families under 2 miles, are we still doing this? I believe this Livingston School District requires those families under 2 miles to pay a fee if they want that privilege/request. Maybe this could alleviate budget costs, was the question.
Yes, that is some of the work we are exploring currently.
And then on Eden again, parents are still confused about the new bidding process that caused a new bus to be assigned to them for next week. Could we explain this again?
Well, I didn't even get a chance to talk to Dr. Gilbert about that because I just heard about it tonight. Again, it goes back to, it's actually a normal practice. And as I noted, we have new transportation heads, and they assumed this was a normal practice for South Orange Maple School District. We did discuss that tonight, so we'll be sending out a clarification letter in the morning around the switch that had to be made. I believe it was only for the latest 4 or 5 routes that were bidded, and that is state mandated that there was a need to go out for another bid. We'll give you more information in the memo tomorrow morning, so please look for that.
Thank you. And the last question that we have is for high school athletics. Is there any additional oversight to the department outside of our athletic director? Families are just concerned for some of their upcoming seasonal sports.
Yes, our athletic department is growing, obviously. We've hired a new director who works very closely with Principal Sanchez. As that department grows, we're obviously having some growing pains and trying to adjust as we go. We just hired a new assistant for our athletic director, who is also our new football coach, so it works out quite well. We're also expanding our programming to the middle school level as well. We're also in the midst of hiring new coaches, and also we recently brought in new coaching training protocol as well. So right now I would describe our athletic department as one in the midst of growing pains. We are trying to bring athletics up to a certain level that it may have never been. As I've noted many a times to folks, our high school is really, really, really good at the college and university side of the house. When I am looking at that graduation book and seeing all the wonderful universities and colleges, both national and international, that our students have been accepted to, we find it quite impressive. But when we're looking at the whole picture of CHS, there's also obviously the activity and athletic side of the house. There's also the workforce development, career and technical education side of the house, all of which we've been putting a little more attention to over the last year to grow those areas as well. And our athletic and activity department is one of those. For those of you on this call who don't know, I know the coach, our athletic director, has been putting out information. We are expanding and growing a middle school sports program for next year. We're adding esports to the high school as well. We're also investing funding into better preparation for our students around sports. We're currently looking at our weight room to do some improvements there. So we want to make sure that our students are being afforded not only academic opportunities once they're post high school, but also our athletic opportunities as well.
Thank you. And I can speak a little bit on the collaboration that I've had with the athletics department. Superintendent Bing cares very much about student voice and agency and our student involvement at the high school level, at our middle school levels, and just making sure that the students are able to contribute back to their school. There's been a really amazing program that the students came up with many years ago called Cougar Sports Media that was covering a lot of our updates, scores, and updates, schedules, and upcoming games. And we've been working really diligently to make that a more formalized process so those students who are interested in sports marketing or photojournalism or just journalism in general are getting some hands-on great experience by working with our local news outlets and getting their student achievements highlighted. So currently there are a few articles written by students on the homepage of Columbia High School. So if you were to visit that, I know for the upcoming winter season, as soon as December hits, they are excited. They're meeting every once a week, and they're ramping up the schedule of how they're getting coverage at most of their games. So I'm really happy that Mr. Bing, Mr. Sanchez, and Athletic Director Winstead was able to have that come to life.
Yeah, we also have students that are also shadowing our athletic trainer. Those students that may be interested in physical therapy, occupational therapy, or things of that nature once they graduate high school. One of our initiatives are really trying to personalize pathways for our students. We all believe in a diploma plus framework. We believe our students should be graduating with more than just a high school diploma. So whether that's work-based learning experience, which includes internships and apprenticeships, whether that's industry certifications, Adobe, Microsoft, whether that's high school, college credits, 15, 30 college credits, whether that's a biliteracy seal. So we really want to make sure our students are graduating with more than just a high school diploma. I think it bodes well for those of our students that are completing college applications and university applications. I think that makes them a lot more attractive, and it also bodes well for those students that are going directly into the workforce, having industry experience or industry certification. So we're excited about that. Obviously, one of our biggest issues, and as one of the reasons why we have been moving forward with the Ritzer redevelopment project, is space, facility space. I just talked to a bunch of our wrestlers, and they're having some issues with space we're trying to solve. So that's an ongoing issue that I know the coach has been juggling and trying to bring in as many stakeholders and trying to bring in student voice as she's making some of these decisions around practice times and locations.
Wonderful.
Well, I want to shout out Ashaya for being a wonderful facilitator, as usual. Um, as I've noted many of times, he has a great future in game show hosting. We look forward to that next step in his career one day. I do want to thank Dr. Wabel and Dr. Gilbert for their participation, and obviously all of you for taking time out of your schedule. We will be having many of these, we want you to become familiar with the format. We do one format, which is community conversations. Those are usually in person, face to face, and then we do this WebEx format where we try to get a question Q&A sheet out ahead of time so you could put your questions in and we can answer them best to our ability. Right now, our focus moving forward is the 26-27 budget. We will keep you all in that loop and give you as much information around that as we develop it. So again, I want to thank you for taking your time. It does mean the world to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. After this webinar ends tomorrow, you'll be able to find this on the district website, similarly to how we were doing it last year at somsdk12.org/webinars. And that's just a short link to go to it. But if you were to navigate the district website, it's under the community tab, which also features a lot of family resources, such as our digital backpack, upcoming events from the Parenting Center, and informational sessions that the district holds as well from various district departments and school divisions. So thank you for joining us, and please check back at somsdk12.org/webinars for the webinar recording, and future events will be added to the district calendar at somsdk12.org/calendar. Hopefully it's easy for short reference. Thank you.